Oh, jeez. Well, guys, this podcast might not happen, but we're going to give it a try.
Oh, it's happening, all right.
Is it?
But will it make the cut? We will see.
Yeah. But anyway, let's start by saying hello.
Good day there.
Hi, everybody.
I am someone.
I'm Anezka.
And this is...
Everything.
And nothing.
Everything and nothing. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, I feel like trash today, so we'll see how well this goes. It's kind of a experiment to see, if I can pull myself out of the muck or pull everybody down and do it with me.
Let's
give it a
see.
little go.
I know. Well, I was going to say, just to start with, wherever you are on this day, listening to this, we're about 2 days out from Christmas, and I'll say, and last night was the solstice, and it's been a hard week, you know.
For you?
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, there's just been a lot of heaviness. So if you're joining us, I just want to say you're not alone. Wherever you are in your life, you're not alone. And we're glad that you're here with us for this segment of Everything and Nothing, and we'll see where it takes us today in our conversation and connection.
Yeah, I'm feeling extra heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's been intense. And we were actually going to film this on Friday, and I was just like, I just can't do it. And then I said, how about Monday? And then Dane's like, well, I felt better on Friday.
Trying to get everything to line up.
Oh, so
Merry
I guess
Christmas to everybody.
Yeah.
It's probably about that time.
Yeah, and I guess what we want to say is it's okay wherever you are today.
Yeah,
You know,
always is.
we're gonna be real, and this is what it is. It's like some days we do the podcast and we feel great, and other days it feels like a perseverance. Keep walking. Don't think too much about it. Take a deep breath and just keep going. That's what I do.
Well, good.
So with that,
We have topics.
Do you want to start? Or
I
who is
started
it?
last time, so I believe
It's my turn.
you are on the griddle.
Okay, let's do this. So, what came up for me and what I want to bring to the conversation today is confidence. And it's funny because this past week I feel like I have had some breakthroughs of my own understanding of my own confidence, you know, and then with all the world stuff, you know, I just feel like there's been a lot of sucker punches and, ways that my confidence has been knocked as well. And I'll talk about those later. But what is confidence? You know, like, I mean, truly when you boil it down, you know, what is it? And how can we improve it? And yeah, so I didn't do any research on this topic. I just came free flow today. This has been on my heart and I wanted to share it. So I'll just throw that question out for you to answer first, and then I'll add something. So what is confidence to you?
I think confidence is your trust in your ability to accomplish what responsibilities you've taken upon yourself. So to have confidence in the face of a job, you feel competent, you feel capable. To feel confident in the face of a pack of wolves, you feel prepared, you feel courage, you feel, I mean, you probably feel fear, but you feel able. You feel like this is a task that I can set out and accomplish. With a relationship, you have built the trust and the foundation, and you feel like it's going to get through it, right? So if you're confident in your boat to get you across the ocean, it's really trust.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's self-trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I was thinking about this question, I kept boiling it down to really self-love in a way for me, because and it's interesting because it's just a very complex word again, like most words, because people have looked at me my whole life and been like, oh my God, you're so confident. And if you want to know the truth, no, I wasn't. I was just unconsciously, blindly moving through my fear and doing something because my desire to move forward was stronger than my fear to not try something. But when I was in the Miss Klamath County pageant, when, and I had to get up and do this gymnastic routine on TV when I was, doing the Miss Oregon thing, I mean, I didn't feel confident. I felt like a fraud most of the times. I felt sheer terror. Like I'm gonna do my backflips and land on my head and embarrass myself. I was just terrified. Or, I can think of a million things. So I've been trying to dissect this because I am coming into a new level of confidence because I am becoming more conscious. And when I boil it down for myself, confidence equals a level of self-love. And and when I love myself, then I trust myself. These
or is
two
it
are,
when you trust yourself, you love yourself?
I don't know. It's kind of confusing. But as I've been thinking about my life and all the choices and stuff, confidence isn't, I feel it now that I'm older. There is a level of true confidence, but I feel like a lot of my life, I was faking it big time.
Fake it till you make it.
I mean, I know they say that,
Yeah.
but, and people are like, what? You felt that? I'm like, hell yeah.
It is a bit of the chicken or the egg scenario because it's much more easy to be confident in yourself when you're making the decisions that you think you should be making. So you have a trust in your ability to make these good decisions. Mm-hmm. And then so it's easier to not talk bad or doubt or belittle yourself.
Right.
Then again, do you have to love yourself first in order to start making good decisions? So it is kind of a yin-yang. It is kind of a circular.
Yeah.
I don't know which comes first.
Yeah. Well, and I think that I've had so many examples of, I've been watching a lot of documentaries about a lot of famous people recently, and it's interesting because there are a lot of role models out there, whether it's music, film, or whatever, that to me it feels like there's a very false confidence, right? It's like grandiosing. It's like, I'm the king of the world, like I'm so great, and and it's, to me, that's the shadow side of confidence, right? That's insecurity. And I've definitely had that and have had that, and so then you're like, I'm so cool, I'm good, I got this, I'm really good at this, so there's also that part of confidence that I think that if you're not really looking at yourself honestly, is that confidence too, though?
Well, that's just the faking it part, but you haven't been making it yet. I mean, you do see it a lot with some very grandiose figures, especially like in Hollywood celebrities. Like you look behind the curtain, a lot of these people have a very dark life, a lot of drug abuse, a lot of, very obvious and blatant insecurities, which, lead to these downward spirals. So, yeah, there's definitely overcompensating. And I feel like also with my personal struggle with confidence right now, I'm very confident in accomplishing individual tasks, no matter what it is. It's a issue of analyzing and then planning and then executing. And typically throughout my whole life, if I'm faced with some sort of hurdle, it's easy to, if I put my mind to it, just to boom, 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 boom. Okay, cool, we got through that. Now, next one. But when you start to add a lot of different layers and levels on top of yourself, when you start to have a bunch of different people depending on you and a bunch of different things that you hope to accomplish all at the same time, for me personally, it becomes very difficult to stay confident with keeping all of these pieces afloat all at the same time. It's, it definitely makes me feel incapable and inconfident and it brings us back to that topic of overwhelm that we've talked about before, where it's just, can I do all this? And if I continue to grow, will I be able to do it still? Like, how much world can I actually shoulder? How much can I actually be Atlas and hold up above myself before the peer pressure eventually gets to me? And I don't know. It's a constant, like, we have to test those boundaries and get crushed every now and then to figure out where those limits are. But as we grow up and as we mature and as we get better at making decisions, ultimately you can be confident in accomplishing and holding more and more.
Right. Right. And so maybe that answers the question, because that's interesting. So maybe that is a issue of not so much of confidence, but maybe that's an issue of like where, if you know that you're better at doing things like this that builds confidence, then maybe some of this has to be cut out and you have to keep bringing it down or practice. Because I've been thinking about, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want to sing and I want to do this and they want to do these things, but they're like, I just don't have the confidence. And so I was thinking about that also. And it's like, so how can we build our confidence? I mean, I think you laid it out. I mean, one of the things I was thinking about is practice.
Yes.
Because when we started this podcast, I didn't feel confident at all. I do more now, I just feel like I know I can show up and trust that I'm going to know what to say and what needs to be said. And I don't doubt that anymore. I don't feel like I'm fear white knuckle clutching through our podcast anymore. That's shifted.
Yeah,
but we've practiced.
We do.
Right?
These independent individual pieces of our life. It's like as we grow, we add another ball into our juggling routine. We keep adding these more and more pieces in. And as we practice them, they become second nature. So,
right.
We no longer have to practice breathing for the most part or our heartbeat because it's so ingrained in us,
Right.
It just happens naturally. If you go to the gym, a couple times a week and you do that for a couple of years, it just becomes a natural part of your life.
Yep.
And it's no longer something you have to think about. You just show up and it happens. Whether it's singing, whether it's making music, you put enough time into it.
Yes.
It just becomes part of your life and you no longer have to practice it. That being said, there still are these limitations, especially if you're ambitious and you want to know and do everything like, this maniac over here.
Yeah. But also like, I want to bring that down to practicing. So, for me, what this has done, and maybe I'll invite you to do the same. It's like where, if you're feeling like you're not confident in certain areas, and you want to be more confident, then first of all, like, what are the steps you can do? And yeah, there's limits. Like, I remember when I was going to college, I was in BYU, and I really, really wanted to sing. I wanted to be in a singing group, and I wanted to be an entertainer. And they had this group, I can't even remember what the name of it was, but it was kind of like you had to go audition. And so I practiced this, it was the song from Fame. I want to live forever, that Fame. Anyway, it was that. And I got somebody to play the piano for me. And I think about this, I just laugh my ass off at myself now because I was terrible. So if you watch American Idol and stuff like that, it's like I can hold a tune, but I'm not, anyway. But I was one of those things where I was just like, well, I just blindly, I don't know what I do. I'm able to shut down certain parts of my reasoning maybe. And I just go and do it. And I did it. And I remember looking at the audience, and the looks on their face was kind of like, and you could tell they're like, oh my God, she's so bad, And I've thought about that moment when I watch American Idol and stuff, and certain people come on and you're like, yeah, no. And a part of me was a little embarrassed afterwards because I knew I wasn't good, but I did it anyway. And so there are limits, like I could keep singing and singing and singing and practicing and would I ever like have a career at that? Probably not. I don't care how much confidence I have, because there's a limit to that, right?
There's plenty of bad singers that have made a career out of it.
Maybe I should have kept going.
Yep.
No, that wasn't my path. But I think about that, and I think about, that's where the courage comes in. If you want more confidence, you just have to practice. And maybe you practice alone for a while till you go do it in front of somebody else or whatever. Yeah. But then there's the confidence in things like relationships. Like how do you build confidence in things that aren't like a task? It's more like relating in a love relationship, or confidence to make a friend, or confidence to start a new business. Like, how do those, if you want more confidence, how do you create it for things like that?
Well, you got to just keep putting yourself out there. Like getting on stage and singing a bad tune, you got to go out in public and strike up some awkward conversations with some people. You got to come up with some bad ideas and try to figure out how to market them and where they're going to go. And by doing that repetitively, hopefully you come to better ideas. Hopefully your conversations with people and your surroundings become less awkward. And you start to really get good at that. You start, same thing, just apply it a little differently. The consequences might be a little bit more unnerving, scary, maybe. A little more high pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, but typically if you're trying to build a friend network and find a lover and have a relationship, it comes back to having to, juggle multiple balls, because you have to get good at that while you're also getting good at these other facets of your life. If you want a nice hobby of singing, and you want a good stable relationship, and you want a decent job with an income, these are all things that you have to keep working at. And so you're going to have to keep pushing yourself in different directions. And you only have so much energy, so many hours in the day. So that brings me back to my point of, like, to be confident, you have to narrow your scope. You have to be confident about how much you can actually manage, how much you can carry, how much you can learn at the same time without stretching yourself like too little butter scraped over too much toast. It's because it will crush you. It will put its foot down at some point and say, hey, look, you're doing too much. You're forgetting to sleep.
Yeah.
You're forgetting to eat.
Yeah.
You're forgetting to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And if you get good enough at speaking, you don't have to practice it anymore. It just comes naturally. If you find the right person and you have that trust in that relationship, you no longer have to really think about it or stress about it as much. If you have the business built and it's functioning and you know the ins and outs, I think, hopefully, because I'm still in the first part, it gets to a point where you no longer have to stress and really be anxious about it on a day-to-day.
Well, and that just sparks the idea is that sometimes then to build confidence, we have to learn who we are and learn new tools and techniques maybe to help move us forward. So if, like you're not great at being in a relationship or knowing how you feel or whatever, then maybe, getting some counseling to help you figure out what you really want or how you feel, or, I don't know. Like, I think sometimes part of this confidence thing is how to learn what's also blocking and how to evolve past maybe limitations, because sometimes, so let me think of an example of myself where I haven't really known what to do, right? And so I just had this experience the other day where I went into the store and there were like 3 different people who were just kind of rude to me, and I was asking about raclette cheese, and I said, and there was one that was sliced and there was one that was like wedged, and I said, he's like, can I help you? And I said, yeah. Can you tell me the difference between these cheeses? And he's like, well, one's sliced and one's a wedge. And it was really rude. And I was like I'm an idiot, right? I know. But it was like, what the fuck? You asked me. And I was like, well, yeah. I said, but my daughter was telling me there's two different kinds. There's a Swiss, that's made from Switzerland. There's one in France. And I didn't have my glasses on. So I was like, Jim, my husband, can you read this? And he's like, oh, yeah, this one's from France and this one's from Switzerland. And then he ended up feeling like the idiot. He's like, oh, But in that moment, and this is what I've been seeing, is that sometimes I'm feeling very confident of myself in the world, and I'm going out and having these experiences, and then other people's behaviors or actions, like, well, you're stupid, can have an impact on me where it starts to shake my confidence. And I'm like, well, maybe I am not as smart as I thought I was, And so I've been looking at that, and it's like, what can I do to learn about myself so that I can start unraveling that piece that lets other people's energy kind of get in and change how I feel about myself, whether making me feel like I did something wrong. And it's funny because it's happened many times. Yesterday, I don't know what was up in my field, but wherever I went, like, people were just like, my confidence just kept shaking. Yeah. And so then I came home and I just really sat and dissected it, and I don't know. Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does. And it's necessary. You have to have pushback to test yourself. Imagine what would you be like if you were just surrounded by a bunch of yes men that told you you're right all the time? Some people get put in that position, and they end up way overconfident.
Yes.
You got a lot of people in this world
that's a good point.
Have been overconfident and have won the Darwin Award, for example. They're like, oh yeah, this is a good idea. I'll jump off this skyscraper with these bed sheets and I'm going to live. And they didn't. It's good to be challenged. Challenge kind of is what it's the catalyst to learning. It's the catalyst for that self-discovery. And, the guy wasn't wrong. One was sliced and one was a wedge.
It's true.
But, really, I think he probably caught him flat-footed. Like, he didn't know. He didn't have the answer. He probably felt awkward and unconfident himself. So he just was pushing that out onto you. That happens a lot too.
Yeah. But it was good. But I use these situations to, really kind of bring it home and what's my next step in order to create an environment inside myself and around myself that wherever I walk, regardless of what people say or do or what I'm trying new, that I can stay in that state of confidence, of I know who I am and I know what I am, and so that's just something that's kind of been up, and I want to take forward, because I was also watching some documentaries about a different famous people, and I always just kind of follow the flow. I don't know. And I was watching young musicians coming into their own, and there was such a difference between the people, you could see it, the people who felt confident and enough in themselves. And really, to me, it kind of looked like it came down to that self-love or a trust. Even though they were scared and they didn't know what they were doing, there was that element of of self-knowing. And I've been thinking about that. And I've been trying to bring that element into whatever I'm doing, even if it's with talking to people that I don't maybe necessarily know, like you said, how can I bring that, I know who I am. I know who I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when we have that rooted sense of I know I'm a good person. I know that I walk from love. I know that I'm doing my best in every moment. I know that I don't have ill will for other people. And if I just keep bringing it back down to that, then it doesn't matter if I look like an idiot or if I'm holding a wedge and a sliced cheese and somebody says, oh, well, I'm like, yeah, you're right. It is. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Through challenge, through trial, through tribulation, we become stronger.
Yeah.
Through carrying more and more, we get better at carrying more and more and become confident in that. That's one of the reasons I love discussion and debate so much, because talking about the weather and superficial stuff, it has a purpose. But when you can dig into your deeper beliefs and challenging ideas, and you start to get pushback from people of, why what you think might be wrong, it allows you to go back and have that self-examination phase where you can reflect and refine who you are a little bit.
Yeah.
And every time you do that, every time you look at who you are, what you believe, why you are who you are, it allows you to understand that a little bit better. And it allows you to be a little bit more confident in what it is you're trying to present.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I feel pretty complete. I mean, I guess what I'm going to take away from this conversation today is that, I'm going to look at, first I want to get a little clear about where do I feel like I need a little more confidence. I think I just mentioned it when I walk out into the world and not letting things have such an impact on me. And then I'm going to think about, well, how can I practice that?
Good question.
How can I practice that so that I can increase more and more confidence? Because that's who I really want to be, is that truly authentic person that's, like I've done enough fear knuckle moving through things, and that might still happen where I have to fake it till I make it some more. And I'm ready to maybe, is there another way to get to confidence that doesn't have to be like that? Like maybe I can practice little tiny baby steps, in a way that builds that trust and that confidence. So anyway, that's my takeaway.
Good.
Any closing remarks for you on this?
I'm working on it. My confidence has been pretty rattled the last week or two. I'm on vacation right now, so I'm just able to stay home, which is super nice. Can put my energy where I want it, but it also throws me off. I'm not really confident of what to be doing with my time right now. So it's an interesting little self-discovery for me at the moment.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's learn.
Okay. All right. I think we're going to take a little break and we'll be right back. See you in a second.
Hello again.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Part 2.
Well, back at it in the saddle. My topic actually kind of already came up a little bit while we were talking about confidence, at least in the way that I kind of dove into your topic. But the word I'd been thinking about myself was power.
Ooh, power.
Power. Once again, very open to interpretation, this word.
Yeah.
Before I give my input, what's your first gut hit when you hear that word? Power.
Well, I mean, my first hit is this, pure energy that just radiates from my whole inner being and just moves out. I think that's the natural feeling that comes to me when I think or sense the word power. And then my second take on the word is then this feeling of wanting to move it out in the world. That's the first one. And then the recoil of it, of the misuse of power, as a woman showing too much power is going to get me killed or hurt. That there is a shadow side. So the first one is shine as bright and be your absolute most authentic, powerful self. And then my next hit is oh shit, this is dangerous. And you better pull that shit in and behave and keep your mouth shut.
But your first hit is a positive hit. Your first relationship with power is positive.
And I think it hasn't always been that way, but go ahead.
Yeah, because I agree. I think power, strictly, power is an energetic force. It's kind of the moving force of the universe.
Yep.
Of us is energetic beings. It's what's powering these microphones and that sound right there. It's running all around us. It's currents through our walls. It is the ability to do work as defined by physics. And so as a human, we are these powers, these lights in the darkness,
yes.
These abilities to imagine, create, and focus and exert our power to accomplish work,
Yes.
which then changes the world. Absolutely.
But then it can also be a thing where we are so overcome by an insecurity or a fear that we use it to control
Well, it
and
also
enslave.
it's the hierarchy that we live within as well, is another way to look at it. The king over the peasants,
Yep.
the CEO over the peons, right? The matriarch over the little kids, you know?
Or the
There's-
patriarch.
Exactly. There's all these little power dynamics at play
Yeah.
where these power struggles occur.
Yes.
But I think at its root, power should be harnessed and should be channeled to accomplish whatever your ends and means in mind are. And you have to use it accordingly.
Yeah, and I'm thinking back because I've gone through many, many, many evolutions with this word power, and there was a time when I couldn't even say the word. I would feel so uncomfortable. I was like, I am powerful. I was like, what? I couldn't even say that. I felt safer with the word empowered, you know, but saying you're powerful felt like a bad thing. But now I'm like you. I personally have done a lot of work around this word and a lot of work around shining my own light and coming into my own power and realizing that it doesn't make me a bad person and that it's not going to, I mean, it may get me killed, but it's not likely, right? Like working through those old beliefs and memories.
Yeah.
And now it just feels like a true, like I feel like a life battery.
You are.
Right. And
Yeah.
so when I think of power, I think of igniting that inner spark, that inner life, that generator, and letting it completely emanate out and about me and letting it create that action, right? Because I think the power, the generator has to be plugged in order to have that impetus, right, to move into the world, to move out. And it kind of, in a way, it really kind of connects to confidence. Because when you're feeling that power, and it could be fear power too, you know, but whatever that is, it's an energy that moves something forward or just moves. Maybe, you know.
Yeah. I think
It's an
confidence
action.
is the trust to harness power. It's your confidence to be able to wield it effectively to accomplish playing music, singing a song, having a good relationship, etc. Power also kind of exists in these separate grids, as it will. And we have the energy grid. Obviously, we all are aware of that.
Right.
You have a bunch of transistors and wires, and you flick on a light, you turn on an oven, it turns on because there's that power behind it. In the human level, we operate on a grid which is a little more convoluted. But one of the main lines of power is money. People turn on, turn off, focus their attention here and there, pick up a task based on a paycheck and what we're paid. There's an old phrase, money is power. And there's a lot of truth in that. Money in current day society kind of operates as the circuitry which motivates and powers human beings, where we focus our energy and what we choose to do with it. So for me, power, there's obviously a negative connotation with it. You think of the tyrant, tight-fisted,
Right.
you know, yelling at his subordinates to, you know, run to the front line and take the cannonball to the chest or whatever. Like, that's a part of it. But I've made kind of peace with that word. Money being power, on the other hand, is a little more complicated for me because I feel like it's not as even as a playing field. I don't feel
Right.
like it's as neutral as just a current throughout a grid of electricity. So if money is power, and I've made peace with the word power, I still haven't quite made peace with the word money myself.
Yeah.
But what do you think of, what are your thoughts on money and power?
Oh, absolutely. What you're saying, I would agree with 100%. What first popped in my mind, because my husband Jim and I have talked, I mean, we talk a lot about everything, but, you know, several years ago, we were talking about how money is kind of like the new magic. You know, like the power that money now has, and maybe it's always been this way, I don't know, but it seems to make unreasonable things happen. Like, you know, like old men having very young, hot partners, you know, and without the money, I'm like, come on, that wouldn't happen. It's like this new that makes magical things happen, you know. Yeah, so I feel like there is this misplaced new ideas and energies and beliefs that's put in, like money is in a way a god. You know, it's the thing that's going to save us or solve our problems or make us happy if we only had money, you know. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest falsehoods that we're fed, because I know that we've all bought into the game that money does seem to make things happen, but I think it's not the true truth of money, you know, and that we can, you know, for me, I'll speak for myself, that I've been unplugging from that game, and I actually feel more power from, how do I say this, kind of going back to the golden rule, like, who am I? You know, like that feeling of power. I've been going back more to the power of the generator in my soul. You can call it spirit, I mean, whatever you want to call, but that is the power that I've been more consciously choosing to put my energy in. Now, do I play the game? Yeah. I want to eat. I want to have a, you know, roof over my head. You know, I'm not bypassing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Two things. First, you said, you know, you kind of thought of money as God to some degree, and it's kind of propped up to be that. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, on the dollar bills printed, in God we trust, mm-hmm. right? In money we trust.
Right.
And it's based on a trust system. It only has any value intrinsically because we believe it's valuable. The truth is, though, power is what's actually valuable. Yes. And value is what you have to actually exchange. Now, currency on its own, I think, is a very useful tool. Yeah. You know, you have different trades. I don't need to go to the dentist, and he doesn't need my apples. So how do we actually do business? I guess we don't need to. But if he needs some apples, but I don't need dental work, we have money to facilitate that to happen. It's a good thing. It's a very useful tool. But at the same time, it's tough to get into, because
it is.
I feel that money as it currently is kind of a rigged system, a rigged game. It's been inflated, it's been devalued, it's been manipulated, and really that system exists within the hands of very few people to kind of do with as they please. And so when you flip power on its head, and if you equate money to power, and all of a sudden the people that can actually create money are creating power and have built a system where they reign supreme. So while money is powerful and money is power, I'm finding myself having to divorce from that idea a little bit and ask more and more, what is valuable?
Yes.
And where should I put my power in a meaningful way?
Yes.
How do I actually create here?
Yeah.
And that's a big question. It's a big question because it's a very big and institutionalized system. And I've tried to not play it before. You saw me. I tried to, there was a time probably about 6 years ago where I basically kind of swore off money and gave away most of my worldly possessions. And my goal was just to go walk into the world with no money and just try to live solely off the relationships that I found along the way, and exchanging like music and company and work for sustenance as we went. And God damn, is that a hard life to try to live. I made it about 4 months, and I was pretty ragged after that.
You were hungry?
Hungry, tired, cold, living in a hammock in the woods somewhere basically at that point.
Disillusioned
It
a
was
bit?
rough. Yeah,
Yeah,
I lost a lot of confidence in
did.
my ability and in the world at that point to be able to do something different. But I'm still a believer. I'm still a believer that we are divine power. We are creative forces.
Yes.
And we are intrinsically valuable. We have so
Yes.
much to offer. And by channeling and focusing our power, we literally are the creators of our own world and universe.
Yes.
Whether through like conscious magic manipulation, but more reasonably through how we apply our work in our hands to the world around us. We can build our house. We can build our community. We can do pretty much whatever limited by your imagination you could come up with. We are power.
We are power. And if you look around the world, there's a lot of examples of people who are living that in communities, you know, that are trying to build up these ways of living that isn't solely dependent on the money story, you know, with the power of, you know, like people in collective communities that are working together, and this person brings this and this person brings that. And, you know, whenever we talk about these big topics,
Yeah.
I find that I always have to distill it back down to like, how can I make this a relatable piece that I can utilize right here?
Yeah.
And so when you were talking about that, I was thinking, well, the first step that I feel like I'm already doing is like, how can I be aware of how I use my power, right? And how am I using that energy into the world? Where can I share my talents and gifts where people don't pay me money, right? Where maybe there's a barter system. I do that a lot. You know, I have done that a lot, where I barter with people for my services. If someone cannot afford me, I've done a lot of pro bono work, you know? So I'm constantly like, how can I create this power, right? And this, you know, and how can I add that into the world in ways that works?
Ultimately, value for value is what we want to exchange. And at the end of this also, money's not the culprit. Whether you go
No.
make a little hippie commune off in the Sequoias, or you have, you know, a different country over in a different part of the world, you want a monetary system.
Yeah.
You want that ability and that
To have
ease
an
of exchange and flow. It makes sense. It's a very useful tool.
Yes.
But you just got to be careful about whose web and whose hierarchy you're playing in. And you got to be able to at least acknowledge that some things are going on behind the scenes with you know, the current ideas of what power are and what we've been taught. In God we trust. Which God?
Yeah. Yeah.
That God. You got to trust this God, yourself.
Yeah. The heart. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I just had a million things fire through my brain and I forgot them all.
Well,
With
should
that
have been a
little-
million and one.
No, it's just
Yeah.
such a deep, profound, you know, thought provoking topic. And, you know, and I'm so grateful for these conversations because, like I said, when I leave this table, it's showing up in my life. I'm thinking about it. It's like, where, you know, like today I'll be thinking about my power, you know, and how is it connected to my confidence, and
Yeah.
how can I use it with my money? And, you know, just from a feng shui position, right, or, you know, theory, I always like, you know, thinking about money, because I used to be one of those people like, oh my God, I so wanted money. I thought money was going to solve all my problems if I could just be rich, you know. And then I would go through these love-hate relationships with money. Like, I hate money. It's evil. And then I'd be like, oh my God, I want you so bad. You know, it was just weird. But I've done a lot of healing and shifts and change. And in feng shui, you know, like the premise is everything is made of energy, right? And they've actually got microscopes, like I said, that can look at things. And so really, money is just an energy. It's just a thing. It's just paper.
It is.
So it's not bad or good, like you said. It's what people believe and what people are using it for. So I always think about that. Like, if it's just an energy, like the power that's inside of us, then how do I want to consciously go into a relationship with it and move it in my life?
Exactly. Where
Right.
and how do you plug into the grid?
Yeah.
And what do you do with that?
Yeah.
What do you channel? What do you give?
Yeah.
What kind of generator are you? What are you going to create and shine and bring into this world? It's a question worth asking often, I feel like, because as I understand the world around me a little bit better and understand myself a little bit better, I have to change my goals and change the way I think about going to accomplish those. But at the end of the day, I am power. And I do want to rock this boat a little bit and rule with an iron fist.
Yeah, right. Not that. And you are power, you know, and your power is needed. And I mean, that's what I feel is important, is that your power is needed and important in the world too. And that's the other beautiful thing. It's like, this isn't either or, it's and. We need everybody's power and light generating on this planet, you know, and yeah, so that's cool.
It is cool.
I like it.
I'm passionate about it. That being said, I've felt very powerless and not very confident the last couple of days, so here is to hopefully learning something from myself, from what I said, and hopefully learning something from you guys out there.
Yeah, and just thank you all for your support, and yeah, very much appreciate it. I feel pretty complete today. How about you?
Complete.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys, and just wishing you lots of peace in this season. May you and your family find exactly what that is, from a place of power. All generating your powerful little generators.
Exactly.
Creating confidence.
Each one of us is a Christmas light, and we're going to make
Christmas.
this tree shine.
Let's make a big Christmas tree. Anyway, so much love. Yeah. Gratitude. Be well.
See you guys down the road.
Next time. In the new year. We'll see you in the new year. All right.